Good evening, people. This is another episode of the Yankified podcast. Is this Yankee offense repairable? That's my question to the chat. This is my question, and that's what we're going to be talking about on tonight's episode of the Yankified podcast. Thank you so much to everyone that's joining me after an obliteration at the hands of the Phillies. The Phillies absolutely annihilated the Yankees. They absolutely destroyed them. Made just an embarrassing performance from the Yanks, and it's to be honest, there's no less than what they deserved. They through some sort of sorcery, they managed to win the first two games, but even despite not basically not being able to drive in any runs whatsoever. And yeah, the Phillies took care of them in game three, and they didn't even play that very well themselves. But that's where we're at. So once again, the Yankees are behind in the division. The Red Sox are coming back. They are not far behind. And the Blue Jays have taken another game ahead. So it's not looking great. It's not looking great. And this offense is a disgrace. And if anyone, and I mean anyone, defends Brian Cashman, I have to seriously question your baseball IQ. It's as simple as that. Not to offend anyone who is a Brian Cashman lover, but I have to seriously question your baseball IQ because this team is not good. It's terribly constituted. This lineup is a joke. This lineup is a joke. There is no excuse for this offense to be that bad. There's no excuse for it to be this bad. I know that Cody Bellinger missed today's game, but he's basically played the entire season up to this point. Aaron Judge is missing. I get that. Without Aaron Judge, you're still looking at an abominable lineup, barring Ben Rice. It's an abomination. It's as simple as that. It's an abomination. And we have to look at the real question here. Is it savable? Is this lineup savable? Because you have to look at the facts here, right? Volpe, sub 700 OPS. He's got a 681 OPS, okay? Ali Sanchez, 600 OPS. Okay. We've got Jason Dominguez, 650 OPS. Austin Wells, 544 OPS. Ahmed Rosario, who was in the 3-hole tonight, 700 OPS. Ryan McMahon, who is conspicuous in his absence in this lineup right now, who is a desperate trade acquisition by Brian Cashman, 644 OPS. Jose Caballero, 664 OPS. Trent Grisham, who we picked up his qualifying offer worth $23.5 million, 700 OPS. Not one OPS that I've mentioned here is league average. Not one. Cody Bellinger, 770 OPS. He's being paid, top 5 outfielder in baseball numbers, and he's got a sub 800 OPS. Goldschmidt, sub 800. Jazz Chisholm, the self-proclaimed best player in the world. He said it himself. He's the best player in the world, apparently. 707 OPS. The only person with an excellent OPS is Ben Rice, 946. Aaron Judge has been missing all year. So that's it. I've named you the stats, people. Right? If you want to go farther, I'll go farther for you. Spencer Jones, 677 OPS. JC Escara. This is the guy that Brian Cashman had to have on the roster to start this year. 510 OPS. Gritchick, our big offseason acquisition. How did he do? He had to get rid of him after 16 games with a 535 OPS and a 194 batting average. These are the stats. The stats do not lie. The stats do not lie. And that's just the OPSs. Do you want the batting average, people? All right, I'll give you the batting average. Aaron Judge, 248 batting average. Hurt, I understand. Jazz Chisholm, 223 batting average. Goldschmidt, 258. Cody Bellinger, 259. Trent Grisham, 216. Jose Caballero, 238. Ryan McMahon, 211. Come on. Ahmed Rosario, 230 batting average. Austin Wells, 165 batting average. Jason Dominguez, 220 batting average. Whew! Spencer Jones, 220. Max Schumann, 220. Anthony Volpe, 250. JC Escarra, 180. Ali Sanchez, 250. The only good batting average of all of them is Ben Rice, 273. There's not one 300 hitter there. Not one. I've gone through everybody that has possibly played for the Yankees at some point this year, and no one is close to a 300 batting average. Not one. Is this acceptable to you guys? Are you happy with this? Oh, but poor Aaron Judge is hurt, right? I just named it. Everybody else has got a 220 batting average, essentially. And a sub 700 OPS. Trust me, this is not just because Aaron Judge is injured. You are lying to yourselves and you're delusional if you think that it's just because Aaron Judge is injured that the rest of this lineup stinks, apart from Ben Rice. It's as simple as that. These are disgraceful numbers at this stage of the season. Look at the on-base percentage here, guys. The amount of people in this lineup with a sub 300 on-base percentage is beyond belief. Jose Caballero, love the guy, 288 on-base percentage. Ryan McMahon, 271. Ahmed Rosario, 274. Austin Wells, 267. Jason Dominguez, 260. Give me a break here. JC Escar, 239. Ali Sanchez, 298. Jazz Chisholm, 297. This is most of the roster that has got a sub 300 on base percentage, a sub 700 OPS, and around about a 220 batting average. This is your entire lineup. This is not acceptable under any circumstances. Anyone that defends Brian Cashman, you have to seriously look at yourselves. This is not acceptable. Not acceptable. And Aaron Judge being hurt is a big part of this. I understand, but it's not everything. You have to look at this deeper. There's far too many lefty bats in this lineup. Far too many. Far too many. And if you look at the lineup that the Yankees sent out tonight, it was an abomination. Okay? It was an abomination. The Yankee lineup was ridiculous. And I understand Bellinger being hurt. I get it. And Judge, fine. But after the first two guys in the lineup, it was a cluster fuck. Goldschmidt, then Rice. Then got Matt Rosario batting in the 3-hole. Got Ryan McMahon pinch hitting. Jason Dominguez cleaning up. Volpe in the 5-hole. Volpe. Trent Grisham, 6-hole. Max Schumann. What? Batting 7th. Caballero batting 8th. Ali Sanchez batting 9th. Wells pinch hitting for him. What an awful lineup that is. That's an awful lineup. And this is one of the most expensive rosters in all of baseball. This is one of the most expensive rosters in the entire sport. And I've named you 99% of this roster, this batting lineup, are completely below average hitters. How is that acceptable? It's not acceptable. And it's time to seriously look at the job that Brian Cashman is doing. How is he getting away with this? How is he getting away with this? This dude is the most coddled, the most egotistical, most coddled general manager in the sport. You can't say anything about him because you're going to get a bunch of people going, oh, you don't appreciate what he's done. Yeah, I appreciate what he's done. In 2009, that's about what, 17 years ago? Yeah, I appreciate what he did 17 years ago, but baseball's changed in 17 years. Heck, I've changed in 17 years. Pretty sure everybody watching has changed over 17 years. There's some people watching that are only 17 years old. So give me a break. Oh, you don't appreciate what Brian Cashman's done. Sure, I appreciated things that he did in the late 90s, but we're in 2026. How long is this going to go on for? How long am I still going to have to answer for the 90s dynasty and 2009? At what point is it okay to say Brian Cashman's doing a kind of a shitty job? At what point is it okay to say that? Because I feel that the time is now. I think the time is now to say that. He's doing kind of a shitty job. Oh, how do you back that up, Donald? I'll back that up if I want. All right, guys, how about this? Who's the third baseman? Ryan McMahon. Who are the Yankees afraid to play right now? Ryan McMahon. Right. That was their panic trade acquisition at third base last summer because Brian Cashman left third base vacant. That's nothing to do with Aaron Judge being injured. That's nothing to do with Cody Bellinger's hamstring. That's everything to do with Brian Cashman's roster decisions. Okay? That's a mic drop right there. Okay, you want to go further? We'll go further. Well, Brian Cashman said, oh, two lefty catchers. What's great. We've got guys that can hit everybody. Right. I just named it for you. Austin Wells is batting 165 with a 260 on base percentage. 165 with a 260 on base percentage. Austin Wells, right? Bats left-handed, right? Who's his backup? JC Escara. How did he do? About 188. About 188. 239 on base percentage. That's great. You know how many home runs Escara hit? 0. Okay. Over 32 games. Okay. So then, oh no, that's not quite worked out. Let's bring in Ali Sanchez. Still 0 home runs, by the way. 256 batting average, 298 on base percentage, still sub 300. This is the catching options. Who's in charge of these catching options? Brian Cashman, who traded away a lot of our catching depth. That'll be your general manager, Brian Cashman. Okay. Oh, we have too many left-handed bats in the outfield. Well, who paid Trent Grisham $23.5 million? Oh, that will be your general manager with a 216 batting average, 318 on base percentage. Oh, but he hit 30-plus home runs last year. Well, he's got 11 now. All right. It was a contract year. Trent Grisham took advantage of it. The Yankees fell for it. Right? Bet against themselves for Cody Bellinger. What's Cody Bellinger done this year? Not a whole heck of a lot. 11 home runs, which is below average kind of for what he should be doing in the middle of the order. 259 batting average, 350 on base percentage is pretty good. 708 on base OPS is poor for his standards. That's not very good, people. Plus, he struck out a lot, 55 strikeouts, which is, not 55, 70 strikeouts, which is far, far more than he should have at this stage. This is a problem. Brian Cashman has made so many mistakes. Oh, but Anthony Volpe it's just purely because of the shoulder, right? Well, what's Volpe doing this year? Is he a league average bat at least? No, 680 on OPS. Okay, with just one home run. Cool. And 152 at bats. That's excellent. So this is Brian Cashman's roster. He has done this. There's too many lefty bats. He was the one that ignored third base until it kicked him in the ass. He's the one that has blindly supported Anthony Volpe, right? You go one home run. One in 152 at-bats. I'm pretty convinced that one of us in the Pinstripe Chronicles in 150 at-bats could at least hit one home run. At least. I mean, come on. One home run. It's true. Jeez. And that's a lot for, I guess that's a lot for this lineup, considering there's a bunch of guys with nothing. You might as well have a pitcher bat at this stage. Especially with Austin Wells at the plate, 165 batting average. Come on. But these are your third base options. Ryan McMahon, Ahmed Rosario. Okay? This is because Brian Cashman was so content with himself, so self-content, that the front office did a massive circle jerk just to placate themselves, right? This is the season that the two of them have had. Ryan McMahon, 211 batting average. Rosario, 230. McMahon, 271 on base percentage. McMahon, 274. Rosario, 274. OPS, Ryan McMahon, 644. Rosario, 709. This was the big circle jerk that Brian Cashman did because he proclaimed it himself. I love our process. Our process is great. Well, this is a shitty process, man. If that's your options at third base, your process sucks. If that's your process at catcher, your process sucks. If Trent Grisham is worth $23.5 million, your process sucks. If the entire lineup that I just named, 90% of it is 700 or below OPS, your process sucks. It's time to be honest about it. It's time to be honest about it. His process stinks. If two injuries means that you've got Rosario batting third, McMahon batting third, Jason Dominguez cleaning up, and Anthony Volpe batting 5, and Trent Grisham batting 6, if that two major injuries leads to that, then your process sucks. Your process sucks balls. If one injury to your left fielder means Max Schumann is playing left field, your process sucks. And your non-development of prospects, you're afraid to play Spencer Jones under any circumstances, even though you've held him out of numerous trades, because he's the next big thing, and you're afraid to have him play against Christopher Sanchez. Your process sucks. It's really as simple as that. So, Donald, 3 of your main guys, it doesn't matter. This process sucks. I've gone through the entire roster. Nobody has had a good year apart from Ben Rice and Goldschmidt. Nobody has had a great year. The amount of guys with a sub 300 on base percentage and a 220 or below batting average is absurd. It's basically most of this lineup. It's not acceptable for the most expensive roster, one of the most expensive rosters in the sport. So, my question to the chat is this lineup redeemable? Can this lineup be redeemed at the trade deadline? My belief, no. I don't believe so. I don't believe that this can be fixed. I believe that this is an off-season fix. And this is an off-season with a new general manager. Because you look at what the Yankees have done, right? So they just got obliterated. Obliterated, right? Belt to ass, 11-4, okay? And those 4 runs, most of it was given by the Phillies. The Phillies basically handed you 4 runs, okay? Yankees won 3-1, just 3 runs. Very, very fortunate through some sorcery that they won that game yesterday. Only won 1-0, like for that, okay. Yankees won 2-0 on the Pirates. Again, it was like an 8th inning Dominguez line drive, which was very luckily not caught by the third baseman. That was the only way you were scoring any runs that game. Yankees lost 5-3 to the Pirates in the afternoon game. Yankees snuck by the Dodgers 2-1. Got obliterated by the Dodgers 8-2. Lost the Dodgers 2-1. 4-2 National over the Nationals. 5-3. 5-3. Again, all very, very fortunate. Yankees obliterated 3-0 off the Rays, then 6-4 off the Rays. Snuck through 5-1 against the Rays there. Lost 6-1 against the Twins. Lost 11-4 against the Twins. Lost 6-2 against the Tigers. 9-3 against the Tigers. 73 against the Tigers. 5-4 against the Sox. 4-1 against the Sox. The amount of games the Yankees are struggling to score any runs whatsoever. It's been going on too long. This is far more than just one injury. This is a deeper issue. The Yanks struggle to score runs. They struggle to score runs. It's an issue. It really is. It's been going on far too long. Tigers won 5-3. Red Sox won 6-3, 6-1, 4-1, 5-4. Yanks are struggling to score any more than between 1 and 4 runs most games. Lost 9-3 against the Tigers, 73 against the Tigers, 6-2. Once again, lost 11-4 to the Twins. Lost 6-1 to the Twins. This team doesn't score runs. Lost 6-4 against the Rays. It's been going on most of the year. They struggle to score runs. Any runs. This is a poorly built roster. It's a very poorly built roster. Very poorly built lineup. And I have to emphasize, this is not a cheap lineup. This is one of the most expensive lineups in the sport. Austin Wells, thanks to Brian Cashman. McMahon, thanks to Brian Cashman. Chaz Chisholm's had an awful year, thanks to Brian Cashman. Volpe, thanks to Brian Cashman. Grisham, thanks to Brian Cashman. This is a poorly built lineup. And Brian Cashman is the reason for it, because he's so deeply arrogant. Do you know a lot of this could be solved by just being humble? Being aware of your flaws, being aware of the roster flaws, taking a step back and going, right, how can we fix this? Oh, it's all well and good that he's doing this now. Why did he not do it in the winter? And as I've said this before, it's all well and good that he's apparently really aggressive right now. He's making tons of calls all over the league to try and address some of the flaws at the trade deadline. That's all well and good, but why did he not do it in the winter? That's my question. And that's a question that nobody has been able to possibly answer to me. The only answers I've heard are from people that hold water for the organization, like Michael Kay, where he says, oh, his heavy lifting was done last summer. He didn't need to do anything in the winter because he did all his work last summer. As I've continued to emphasize on this podcast, Let's look at the work that he did last summer. Ryan McMahon, complete disaster. Camilo Doval, complete disaster. Jake Bird, he can't even be trusted to be on the roster. Complete disaster. Right? This was the moves. This was all the heavy lifting that Brian Cashman did last year. It was all last summer. He didn't need to do anything last winter because he did all that heavy lifting in the summer. Well, all that heavy lifting has basically gained the Yankees nothing. Nothing. It was a bullshit excuse then, and it's a bullshit excuse now. And only idiots bought it. I'm sorry. Anyone who bought that excuse was idiotic. And you need to have a look at yourselves if you bought that shit. So, Michael K., you're an idiot for that stupid excuse. Last winter is when you should be doing the heavy lifting. You make the supplemental moves at the deadline. That's how you build a roster. You don't do supplemental moves in the winter and the heavy lifting in the summer. That doesn't make any sense because you're basically got no leverage in negotiations. It doesn't make any sense. But Brian Cashman's doing that right now. Whoa, yeah, got super chat. Let's go. Jacob, $2 super chat. You are the GOAT. Bless up to you, Jacob. Donald, I love you, my guy, but blaming Jazz on Cash? Well, I mean, who else am I going to blame for that for the fact that he's still here? He's got to go, man. Jazz got to go. 223 batting average, 297 on base percentage, 707 OPS, lollipops in his mouth, sandcastles everywhere, 117 strikeouts midway through the season. What's the record? What's he gonna go? We get 250 strikeouts this year? Look at the strikeout to walk ratio, 37 walks, 117 strikeouts. It's embarrassing. Come on. He only has 16 home runs and 346 at-bats. It's not very good. He's had a terrible year. He should have been traded in the offseason. He overlooked the red flags. Why were the Marlins so desperate to get rid of someone that talented? I don't believe that he should have traded Agustin Ramirez in part of the trade because look at our catching scenario right now. It's terrible. I like Jazz. I like the trade. I'm not saying that the trade itself was a bad trade, although I certainly wouldn't have given up Agustin Ramirez. I would have tried to have used another package because I think Agustin is better. In fact, I know he's better than Austin Wells. So I didn't like that aspect, but okay. I'll give you that. The trade itself is fine, but he should have been traded last year. The reason why he should have been traded after the 30-30 year is because that was the height of his trade value. That was a height. That was as high as his trade value was ever going to go because he's in the last year of his contract. He was in the last year of his contract, right? You got to take advantage of it because if you're not willing to extend him, then you're just going to lose him for nothing at the end of this year, which you're going to do. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That's a poor use of an asset. Now, I'm not saying Jazz is a terrible player because that's he's had a terrible season, but he's an asset. And Brian Cashman has just wasted an asset. He wasted an asset here. So he's going to let his contract run out. You can't extend him. You're an idiot if you extend him. So we're in a tough spot there. The time to trade him was at the winter. But this requires a general manager to foresee it. He needs to foresee issues, but he doesn't. He's purely reactionary. He constantly reacts. He didn't foresee that Austin Wells was going to suck. Why can I foresee it? I made a prediction. Austin Wells is going to have a terrible year. I predicted it on this channel during our predictions. I said that Austin Wells is going to have a terrible year. So why can I predict it just lowly old podcaster here, why can I predict that? But why is my highly paid general manager unable to predict that? Why? Hubris. That's why. Ego. That is why. Donald, did you see my other super chat? I apologize. I only saw the one for $2. Let me go back and see if there's any more. If it went through, then it went through. See. Oh, here we go. Apologies. All right, there we go. I was on a rant. Donald, my brother, tough one tonight, but 2 series W's. Well, thank you so much, man. Bless ups to you. You're a legend. Donald, great rant. Thank you so much, Benny. Love the movie, Donald. Thank you, man. What's up to everybody in the chat? Who traded for Jazz? Cashman did. Cashman overlooked the red flags. You have to do some research. If the previous team couldn't wait to get rid of somebody, you should pay attention to that. As I say, and I've said it, and it's no surprise because anyone who's watched me knows this. I said that after he yawned during the playoffs, he had to go. That was the time to trade Jazz. That was it. At the end of the postseason, he should have been traded because it's a terrible look. You're not a serious ball club if you keep somebody that is so bored during a postseason game that you're yawning. It's a horrible look. He doesn't take his job seriously enough. And I certainly would have traded him after the lollipop. I don't care what we got in return, but that lollipop is a horrible look for a franchise that look like they don't give a shit. So, as I say, I've just gone through it. The lineup is a mess. And this is an extremely expensive lineup. This is not like the Little Sisters of the Poor. This is not like some small-time organization. This is the New York Yankees. And I just named 90% of the lineup is below 300 on base percentage and a below 700 or below OPS. It's not acceptable under any circumstances. I don't care who's injured. Aaron Judge should not mean that 7 or 8 guys in this lineup cannot hit worth of their weight. It doesn't make any sense. Come on. Anyone who defends Brian Cashman need to seriously look at themselves because you're not being honest. You have to be honest with yourselves. And this, I know that most of the people in the chat agree with me, but this is to the very odd few that don't. You have to look at yourselves. What is it that Brian Cashman's done over the last few years that deserves praise? What is it? Shortstop is a mess. Third base, complete mess. Second base, mess. Catcher, disgrace. Outfield, incredibly overpaid. Incredibly overpaid. $23.5 million to Trent Grisham. Cody Bellinger paid, 30+ mil? Like top 5 outfielder in baseball. Is Cody Bellinger top 5 outfielder in baseball? Not for me. And then you got Big G's contract, which is looking like a bit of an albatross right now. I love me some Big G, but I'm telling you, if I'm a GM, I'm having some backup to Big G because I know that guy can't play more than a third of the season. You got to have a backup to him. But Brian Cashman doesn't. Because why? Ego. That's why. Yes, the GM is living in the past with Fishman as analytics. Exactly. As I say, this rant doesn't mean that I don't respect what Brian Cashman did 17 years ago. It's absurd that I even have to say that. Right? My ripping him right now doesn't mean that I don't appreciate what he did in 1999 and 2000. 1999? Are we being serious? How is he still here? How? He's won 1 championship in 17 years. He's been to 2 World Series in 17 years. 2. And we lost 1. What are we defending here? What are we defending here? There's something to defend. This is a guy that has spent billions, not millions, billions. And he's got so much money and so much resource and so much cachet in the bank that he can continue to make all kinds of mistakes and then all new ones and continue to be defended and defended and defended by this organization that doesn't seem to give a shit. He's lurched from one mistake to the next. How about third base, for example? The Josh Donaldson trade should get anybody fired at them because you're taking on $50 million, right? And the person you got rid of was a league average player on a league minimum salary, right? You traded him away for a below league average player on $50 million. And you ate every single penny of that. That was just your general manager, right? And he lurched from that mistake to an all new one with the Ryan McMahon thing, taking on all of his contract, untradeable contract now. And he's so bad that even in a lineup that cannot hit worth a shit, they're terrified to play him right now because he's that bad. So he's lurched from one mistake to the next. This is your general manager. And he's lurched from one mistake to the next at shortstop. Oh, Gleyber Torres, elite second baseman. Oh, we're going to move him to shortstop. Can't play shortstop. Doesn't matter. He's going to play shortstop anyway. Right? Really hurt him. Really hurt him. Right? What was the next mistake? Oh, IKF. Third baseman. I'm going to play him a shortstop. Right? This is your general manager. Right? And now Anthony Volpe for like God knows how many years. Well, 4 guy sucks. This is your general manager. Gary Sanchez, he gaslit us and gaslit us and gaslit us, but Gary Sanchez finally traded him as part of the Josh Donaldson trade, right? And then the whole new one was he traded away all our catching depth to go with Austin Wells, who's worse than anyone who's ever seen before. He's having the worst season in 60 years. This is your general manager. So I'm going to say it right now. The honest truth is he is a bad general manager now. He is a poor general manager now. Doesn't mean he wasn't poor. Doesn't mean that he wasn't awesome 17 years ago. But he's poor now. And we're paying him for now. We're not paying him for 17 years ago. We're not paying him for 23 years ago. We're paying him for this year. And what's he done this year? What has he done this year? Ryan Weathers trade? Woof! What else did he do last winter? Randall Grichuk? Well, he played 16 games and had to be cut. What else did he do? Paid Cody Bellinger, who's had kind of a down year. Overpaid Trent Grisham, had a bad year. What else has he done this year? Am I missing anything? This is your general manager. He's had a poor several couple of years. And don't forget Aaron Hicks, bro. I will never forget Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks is by far my most hated Yankee. You think I hate Anthony Volpe? I despise Aaron Hicks with every bone in my body. Hence this. This image. This image. What did they say about Helena Troy? A face that launched 1,000 ships. Aaron Hicks, a face that sank 1,000 ships. Frickin' hate this bastard. Thanks, Brian Cashman. So I'll never forget Josh Donaldson either, Benny. So I'm Rugnight Odor. That was a good trade. Never played third base before. Yeah, that's right. And even last year, they moved Jazz over to third base and blew out his arm doing that. That was good. That was really good. It's never ending. They had Neil Walker. They played him in right field. Great point, FJ. See, these are the kind of issues that I'm talking about. And Schumann, as I say, there's no excuse. If you have one injury to your left fielder, Cody Bellinger, and your backup to that is Schumann, then you're doing a bad job. Schumann is not an outfielder. It's been going on too long. This is the first time first base has been addressed, by the way. We haven't had a third baseman before Ben Rice since Mark Teixeira. Now, Anthony Rizzo, you can certainly argue, but when we extended him, that was a mistake. Extending Anthony Rizzo was a mistake. It almost set us back several years because look at the options that we had at that time. Olsen was available. Freeman was available. But Brian Cashman refused to trade Anthony Volpe as part of the Olsen trade. Olsen's now one of the elite first basemen in the league. Anthony Volpe is one of the worst players ever. So this is your general manager. This is your general manager. It's very hard to be complimentary of something so terrible. He's doing a terrible job, and it's time to be honest about it. But Chris Carter will never forget that. Horrible. The thing was, we just kept kicking the can down the line. That's the problem with Brian Cashman's roster philosophy is until this season, he hasn't appreciated third base. He hasn't appreciated shortstop, and he hasn't appreciated first base. So we've had several years of a below average infield because Brian Cashman doesn't prioritize it. I don't understand that logic. It doesn't make any sense to me. But this is your general manager, who's one of the extraordinarily well-paid general managers in the sport. And he has a lot of people going to bat for him. And a lot of people still keep calling him Cash God. Why? What am I missing? What is this Cash God that I'm missing here? There's no Cash God. Right? The most important positions he doesn't give a shit about. He hasn't prioritized center field since God knows how long. And those are arguably the most important positions in the entire baseball lineup. First base, third base, center field, shortstop. Those are your most important positions. And Brian Cashman has not given a fuck about it since 2009. Let's just be honest about it. How many great center fielders have we had since 2009? One? Two, maybe? If that? How many great first basemen have we had since Mark Teixeira? Honestly, it's Ben Rice. Now, in 2026. How many good third basemen have we had since A-Rod? Honestly, none. How many quality shortstops have we had since Derek Jeter retired a long time ago? Didi Gregorius. This is your general manager. This is your general manager. And it's time to be honest about it. He has done a terrible job, and I will keep saying it. It doesn't mean that he's had a terrible career. He had a pretty good career up until 2017. Good job. But it all went wrong after 2018. That's when your ego took over, Brian. That's when your ego got too big. That's when you needed to be the puppeteer. That's when you stopped emphasizing the importance of a good roster, a balanced roster. That's when you stopped giving a shit about having a strong leader as manager. That's when you stop giving a shit about tradition. That's when you stop giving a shit about a strong locker room full of leaders that held people accountable. But you can't have that, Brian, because if people held people accountable, then your ass would be in trouble. Your ass would have been sacked. Because if there was any accountability in those organizations, your ass, along with Aaron Boone, would be cooked. The three frickin' stooges. There they are. Aaron Boone, pathetic. That's my only way I could describe Aaron Boone. And Aaron Boone, Mr. Egghead over here, has done a disgraceful job over the last year or two. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. So, that's my rant. But as once again, I go back to it. Is this Yankee offense beyond repair? So I want to ask you guys in the chat, you fire it to me right now. Is this Yankee offense beyond repair? Can it be fixed at the trade deadline? Can it be fixed? Opinions on Brian Cashman's side. You guys know where I stand. I've just ranted on about it for 45 minutes. Can it be fixed? My personal opinion is no. My personal opinion is no, it cannot be fixed. It can be improved upon, but it can't be fixed. There's too much here. There's too many problems. Catcher below average, third base below average, shortstop below average, second base below average, center field below average. It's too many. DH, don't have Stanton, so you can argue that's below average as well. There's just too many below average bats in this lineup to fix. Like, what, in fact, isn't it easier if you just say, what positions are you guys comfortable with going into the trade deadline? Ben Rice / Goldschmidt. Cody Bellinger, left field, once he gets back from his hamstring injury. Okay, that's 2. Aaron Judge, right? When he comes back from his ribs. God knows when, what, September? All right, if you want me to be generous, I'll add Aaron Judge in there too. Okay, that's 3. Any other positions you guys are okay with? I'd be shocked if you guys can add any more to that equation. You know? Are you guys happy with second base? I'm not. Are you happy with third base? Fuck no. Are you happy with Trent Grisham? You can maybe say Trent Grisham, maybe. You see, you're really struggling after 3, right? You can argue 4, maybe 5, but there's too many issues. There's still too many issues. You're really stretching if you can say half this lineup you're comfortable with. You can't fix all these issues at the trade deadline. You just cannot do it. Now, there's certain ways in which they can improve the situation. A right-handed outfielder. Again, it's a layup, but to be honest, that's something you should have addressed in the winter. But okay, if you can get me a right-handed outfielder and a right-handed catcher with some pop, okay, it's certainly better. Doesn't fix the lineup, but it certainly adds more balance to the lineup. But you need to get some batting average in here. I went through the entire lineup. The only good batting average we have in this entire lineup of the 16 odd people that have played for the Yankees this year offensively, the best batting average we have is Ben Rice, 270. I mean, that's a joke. Cody Bellinger, 259. Trent Grisham, 216. Caballero, 238. McMahon, 211. Rosario, 230. Austin Wells, 165. 165? Jason Dominguez, 226. Schumann, 220. Volpe, 250. JC Escara, 188. Grichuk, 190. He had to be cut. Aaron Judge, only bat 248. There were so many problems here. There's not enough batting average here. Call me old school, right? But I still believe that batting average should count for something. Now, it doesn't mean that needs to be everything, but it should count for something. Because it does mean that the higher batting average you have, more chance you have of some reliability of getting on base. It is gross, Benny Barrels. It is gross. That is gross. These those numbers are gross. Gross. And the strikeout numbers, far too many strikeouts. Far too many. Jazz Chisholm, 117. McManus, 78 in 86 games. Caballero, who's not normally a strikeout guy, he's still got 77 times. Aaron Judge was already on 72 before he was, and he's missed most of the season. He struck out a lot because of the injury. Cody Bellinger, this is far too high for his standards, 70. Austin Wells, 63 in 72 games. That's terrible. Trent Grisham, 55. There's a lot of strikeouts. Volpe, 40 in 50 games. That's far too many, too. This team strikes out too much. Doesn't hit enough. There's not enough power. Again, you look at the power, okay? Ben Rice has run away with it with 31. Judge, fine, 17 in the month or so that he played. Chisholm, 16 all season. That's kind of poor for him. Goldschmidt's had a revelation, 16. That's fine. Bellinger, 11 in 102 games. That's not great. I'm sorry. I don't care. Come at me all you want. 11 for someone who's batting in the middle of the order. He's played 102 games, 374 at bats. That's not very good. Trent Grisham, 11. McMahon, 9 in 228 at bats. That's gross. Well, 7 in 206 at bats. That's gross. Dominguez, 6 in 168 at bats. Equally gross. Volpe, 1. 1 in 152 at bats. Completely gross. And there's 150 at bats between JC Escara, Randall Grichuk, and Ali Sanchez. Guess how many home runs they have? That's right, 0. That's gross. There's too many strikeouts, not that much power. No batting average. There's too many problems with this lineup. I just don't think it can be repaired. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it can be repaired. Where are the likes? You guys have got to hit the like button for me, people. There's plenty in the chat. Let's see who we got in the chat. We have 20 watching on X. We have 13 on YouTube. For those that are watching on X, hop on over YouTube, hit that like button. Let's get the likes up. Salute to you that are watching late. I know it's late, 11:26 Eastern time. You guys are heroic, staying up late. I know it's a Sunday night. You guys probably go to work tomorrow. No, early in the morning. I don't doubt it, but you guys want to stick with the Pinstripe Chronicles / Yankified podcast to watch me rant. You don't know how much that means to me. So thank you so much. Yeah, we need a whole new lineup at the deadline. That's my point. That's my point here. Now, of course, adding a catcher like Jeffers would be great. Of course, that would definitely help this lineup, but it doesn't fix it. And yeah, there's names out there where you can fix it, but it would cost your entire farm system, you know? So it's almost not worth it for me. It's just for me, it's just not worth it. That's why I'm not getting excited about what the Yankees do this deadline. And I think it's kind of laughable and it's kind of shameless that Brian Cashman's being aggressive right now when he wasn't aggressive at the time that he should have been aggressive, which was in the winter. Ben, I'm sorry I made you puke, Benny. I apologize. That's never good. You're a legend, Benny. Salute to you. Um, but yeah, those numbers are revolting. There's literally pitchers that could hit better than like half the guys that I mentioned in this lineup. I mean, I don't want to skirt over what Ben Rice has done. He's been amazing. He's carried everything by himself. 31 homers, 72 RBIs, 360 on base percentage, almost a 600 slug, almost 1,000 OPS. He leads the team in batting average. The guy is beyond belief. The guy is beyond belief. I mean, there's not enough words that I can say about what he's done. God bless him, honestly. It's not easy to be the only hitter in a lineup without Aaron Judge and with Stanton hurt, and you're not going to get that many pitches to hit, and he still destroys everything. So I can't say enough about Ben Rice. So credit to Ben Rice, but apart from that, you look at this lineup and I feel that there's too many issues here. We got Jade Martino in the chat. Salute to you, man. Yankees have an organizational problem. Preach. Look at Anthony Siegler. He was hot garbage playing for Somerset AA Yankee farm team. I went to the games and he stunk. Look at him now. Salute to you, man. I do agree that there is an organizational problem here because we've talked about this on our channel for a long time. Brian Cashman's development of position players is terrible. It's terrible. Why is Peraza a better player outside the Yankees than within? How come the Yankees had no use for Andujar? Why is he better elsewhere? What about all the overhyped guys? Clint Frazier with the generational bat speed. The Yankees had him up and down like a freaking yo-yo. Had him play through concussions, destroyed his confidence, ruined him as a player. And he's never recovered, and he's a freaking podcaster like me, right? I mean, the Yankees have done this to so many prospects. It's unreal. Esteban Florial. Oh, he was the next guy. Oh, we can't move Florial. Florial's unhittable, untouchable, blah, 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 blah. He'd have some really good games, right, for the big league team, and he'd be sent down right after the at-bat. He'd hit line drive double off a wall, and then that night he'd be sent back down to AAA. He was never allowed to do anything. And now he's disappeared. I don't know what he's doing. But this is what the Yankees do. Their position, they're terrible with their prospects. Gary Sanchez was somebody who could hit to all fields. They turned him into strictly a pull hitter. Anthony Volpe could hit to all fields in the minors. Comes up to the majors, the Yankees make him strictly a pull hitter. Now he is a mess, a broken shell of a ball player, a shallow husk of a ball player. Having one of the worst careers over a 4-year span you're likely to see in the history of modern history of baseball. Then I'm not even talking about Austin Wells. Coming up, he was meant to be this power guy, a guy that can hit for power as a catcher. And since he's coming up to the majors, batting 165 this season. Again, one of the worst seasons you've seen in 60 years. This happens too often, and Brian Cashman seems to skirt by. These are his prospects. Jason Dominguez, we all love the Martian. We're all excited about him, but you have to look at what his numbers are. 226 batting average, 261 on base percentage, a 390 slug, 654 OPS. None of that is good. Just 6 home runs and 168 at-bats, and he's not very good in the outfield. We have to just be honest about it. The Yankees' development is terrible, and it's an organizational issue. It's an organizational issue. The only people that have survived Brian Cashman is Ben Rice and Aaron Judge. They're great. But you have to remember, this is there's been a lot of seasons where we've had zero development. Gleyber Torres is better as a Tiger before he got hurt. He had one amazing season for us, and then Brian Cashman destroyed him too, turned him into a pool hitter. We've had guys that could hit to all fields, then Brian Cashman, Mike Fishman, and this offensive philosophy of turning everybody into strict pool hitters has destroyed a lot of guys. So that's why I really think that, sure, you can put lipstick on a pig, but I've seen Brian Cashman do panic moves. Remember he made the panic move for Joey Gallo? How did that work out? Overpaid for Joey Gallo. How did that work out? Terribly. He was another joke. The problem is Brian Cashman leaves positions unattended until the summer, panics, makes a bad trade, and puts us in an even bigger problem than we were before. He does this all the time. He does it on an annual basis now. That's why I keep saying it. He's not a very good general manager anymore. So we're in this summer now. Catcher is a must, right? We have to bring in a catcher. Jeffers, get it done. Fine, get it done. But there's other issues beyond catcher. Shortstop. You want to go with Lombard? I don't want them to do to Lombard what they've done with Volpe. I don't want them to Yankify George Lombard. I don't want them to turn George Lombard into a strict pool hitter, somebody that strikes out 150 times, because they do that to a lot of people. I don't want them to touch George Lombard right now. For me, leave him alone. But okay, for interests of my strong dislike to Brian Cashman aside, right? In interest of just talking about how to improve this team. If you guys want to say George Lombard, I'm on board with it, right? But again, I think they're rushing him, and I don't want to rush him. But for interests of improving shortstop, okay, George Lombard, okay. You can't improve third base. You're not trading McMahon. So you're stuck with this platoon of McMahon and Rosario. Okay, you got Lombard, fine. Second base, Jazz Chisholm. You could content with Jazz Chisholm? All right, I guess so. Ben Rice first. Excellent. Catcher, right? Okay, bring me Jeffers. Right? That's an upgrade for sure over Austin Wells. Okay, you can do that. Certainly the lineup is not egregious with the addition of Jeffers and Lombard. I'm okay with that. Outfield, Trent Grisham, we're stuck with him. Bellinger in left field, good. Judge, you have to wait till September. Are you okay with Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez, or are we gonna trade for a righty catcher? And a righty outfielder as well. So what I'm saying is, yes, you can certainly improve the offense. I get that, but for me, that there's too many issues, fundamental flaws right through the organization, but certainly in this lineup that it feels like there's just too much that needs to be done. Helium Man's Hearts in the chat, salute to you. He's hitting 280 in the minors for his career. He'll be a worse hitter in the pros. Probably will hit half that in the majors. I don't know what, and there's every possibility he's going to be fantastic. There is every possibility. But the thing is, you also have to look at the Yankees' development record to this point. Let's not forget that over the 5 years of mine doing a podcast, whether it's Rob or whether it's Tats or whether it's there's always there's always this prospect that we're all looking forward to seeing, right? There's always this prospect. Everyone in the chat, there's always this prospect. Rewind at times, it was 5 years ago, everyone was talking about the Martian. Oh, just wait. Just wait till we get the Martian. Well, we're seeing the Martian now, and he's not that good. He's pretty good, but not nearly what we were expecting, right? Spencer Jones. The hype for Spencer Jones, right? I'm a Spencer Jones guy. I love Spencer Jones. Honestly, he's a little overhyped. The Yankees are terrified to play him, though. Terrified. They don't trust him. They don't like him, right? These are the guys that Brian Cashman held out of all trade negotiations. Anthony Volpe was like this, the next big thing. Oh, Anthony Volpe. Oh, my God. We see Anthony Volpe, and he's one of the worst players I've ever seen as a Yankee. Ever. Ever. So, like, the development record is underwhelming, to say the least. Right? It's underwhelming. And after 2017, the baby bombers, right? Everyone was talking to Gary Sanchez. After a couple of years, he started to decline massively, and the Yankees couldn't fix him. It took him leaving to get better, to get fixed, because the Yankees couldn't fix him. Everyone was talking about Peraza. Remember Hal Steinbrenner was like, I envisaged Peraza and Volpe being the middle infield of the future. Well, Peraza is a better player elsewhere because the Yankees were completely unable to do anything, any development whatsoever. This is very real, very, very real. Not all of it is because of the individual player. You know, Gleyber Torres, what did Brian Cashman say? I can't trade Brian Cashman. I got to live in this town. I can't trade Gleyber Torres. I got to live in this town. He said that. All right? But then he started to fuck about with him. Played him at second, short, second. Screwed him about. Ended up leaving for nothing. It's been going on too long. And Brian Cashman is getting away with it. He's been skating by because the truth is he has far more resources than everybody else so that he can afford to pay off the mistakes that he's already made. Whether it was Rosario's extension, whether it was Rizzo's extension, whether it was DJ LeMahieu's extension, whether it was Aaron Hicks's extension, whether it was the Josh Donaldson trade, whether it was the Joey Gallo trade. He is allowed to cover up for the disastrous mistakes that he makes on an annual basis, eats a ton of money to get rid of a ton of his mistakes that he's done, his mistakes, and he gets to make all new ones. And then we still get to hear, oh, cash God, cash God, cash God. Excuse me. So that's where we're at. Like, I just don't think that there's enough that we can do. We can, you can look elsewhere. I've heard some very interesting um, names, such as the Washington National shortstop. But then, what you would then have to ask, what does that mean for Lombard? You know, so and then that the cost for that kind of player, you have to seriously question whether it'd be worth it. Plus, would the Nationals want to trade their best player, considering they're right there in 54 and 52? CJ Abrams. I mean, CJ Abrams is a very, very good player. 27 home runs, 82 RBIs, 297 batting average. He is absolutely on fire. He's one of the best players in the game. He's best shortstops in the game. Absolutely incredible. I would love CJ Abrams. Absolutely love to get him. But the cost would be extortionate. And are the Nationals seriously going to trade him, even though they're 54 and 52? Now, if they were in fifth place, maybe. But they're in third place. Why would they trade him? He's their everything. They're not going to move him. So, I mean, to answer the question of this podcast, is this Yankee offense beyond repair? To address everything, yes, it is beyond repair. But certain moves can be made to improve it. Catcher being one. Now, obviously, a lot would be fixed if you add TJ Abrams, but I just don't see it. Why would the Nationals trade Abrams? I just don't see it. I think to get Abrams, it would cost you both Dominguez and Jones plus Lombard plus ERC. I mean, it would cost us our entire farm system. And my question is, do you want Brian Cashman to make that trade? Should Brian Cashman be allowed to make any more trades? Because we're always waiting for the next big prospect. We're always waiting. Oh, we're just waiting for Volpe right down the line. We're waiting for Dominguez. Oh, we're just waiting for Spencer Jones. We're waiting for Austin Wells. We're waiting. We're always waiting for the next big prospect to come through, and it never happens. So I just don't think it's worth it. For me, I think the Yankees need to be smart and just look at where they are as an organization and make some supplemental moves. And honestly, you just have to bite the bullet. You've done this to yourself, Cashman. I'm sorry. I'm not allowing you to make any more trades to save your ass. The Yankees are 3 games behind the Rays in the division. Okay, now you can make that up, but I don't think we are, because we still got the Rays to play. We've got the Red Sox to play. We got 4 against the White Sox, who are 55 and 49. They got Murakami back. We've still got the Braves to play, who are 62 and 43. The Cardinals are above 500. The Cubbies are 59 and 46, so pretty much the identical record to the Yankees. These are very difficult games coming up. Very difficult. I would be shocked if the Yankees are anywhere closer than 3 games behind the Rays by the time Aaron Judge is a possibility. And we're still not talking about the fact that the Red Sox are breathing down our necks right now. They're only 4 games behind the Yankees now. So we go. What's going on, my brother? What we got? Fire Well 7777. Just saying what's up. Salute to you, man. We getting NATO. Are we getting NATO? Let's find out. I've not heard anything, but if you have heard any update on Neto, then let me know. Let's see. Let's see. Not heard anything yet, but just checking X. Zach Neto. I mean, let's have a look and see what kind of year he's had. "19 homers, 46." Well, that's 18 homers better than Anthony Volpe, my friend. Listen, that would be fine. That would be absolutely fine. The Red Sox are also interested in him, though. Per Ari Alexander, the Red Sox are indeed interested in Zach Neto. And Jeremy Pena. So, we have got to compete with other teams for that position. Yeah, that's it. The Red Sox are in on him too. Maybe the Yankees are in on him, but again, this is the problem though. When you try and do all your heavy lifting in the summer, you're also competing with a bunch of other teams for the same player. That's why you need to do your moves in the winter, Brian Cashman. That's when you make your moves. Because you have leverage then. You have zero leverage in the summer when everybody with eyes knows you don't have a shortstop, you don't have a catcher, you don't have a third baseman. FJ, I asked the same question. How long can the Yankees sustain winning 3-1 or 1-0? I honestly, I'm amazed that they've gone this far where they can't score any runs. Like the amount of times that I've said over the last fortnight, how are they getting away with this? They are through some sort of sorcery, they are winning games that they have no business winning. They had no business winning Saturday night's game. None. The opportunities that the Phillies had, but the Phillies kept shooting themselves in the foot. Baum was basically a Yankee player with how bad he was on Saturday. He was a disgrace. The Phillies would have been better without with anyone but Baum on Saturday. So it's not sustainable because they had so many opportunities. Even on Friday, they had the bases loaded and 1 out. They should have scored runs. One terrible at bat after another. Harper's looked awful this series. Like the Phillies should have tattooed the Yankees. They did tonight, but they should have won that series. The Nationals should have swept the Yankees. They were winning every single game going into the 8th or 9th inning. Their bullpen kept blowing it. How is this still sustainable? I don't know how they're getting away with this. I really don't. Now, give credit where it's due to the bullpen. The Yankee bullpen is somehow got the best ERA in the league right now. I probably a bit different now after tonight's disaster with Yarbrough. But Volpe had a lot to do with that. Oh, by the way, how about how about Volpe's throw today? Woo! Bro, airmailed that. That was epic. What a throw that was. It honestly was such a bad throw. It looked like he deliberately did that. And so, like, I keep asking it, how are the Yankees getting away with this? Like, they're winning a bunch of games by one run. They have no business winning. 1-0s, 2-1s. Schlittler's been incredible. I can't say enough about Schlittler and Ben Rice. The two of them, what they're doing, it's amazing. Like, honestly, give Cy Young to Cam Schlittler, give the MVP to Ben Rice, because no one has been more important to their organization than those two guys. Because honestly, without them, or even if they weren't having some of the best years you've ever likely to see, even if they were having like above average years, this Yankee team would be in fourth place. That's how bad the Yankees are. Actually, so the only player I would trade Lombard for is Bobby. Lombard's untouchable for me. But also, a lot of it is to do with because I just don't want Brian Cashman to trade any more of our serious prospects. Shane Martino, salute to you in the chat. I would love to see Brian Sabian as GM. I agree. Cashman needs to go. Donald, I agree. How has he gotten away with this? He's gotten away with this because of a complacency in the organization. And with the Three Stooges, the middle guy right here, Hal. Now, for me, he is the least culpable of the Three Stooges, but he also has to take huge amount of accountability because he doesn't oversee the organization. He's got so little authority on the organization. He's allowed that pumpkin, Brian Cashman, to basically own the Yankees and destroy them. And beside him, Aaron Boone, who is as pathetic a leader as you're ever going to see. Just the absolute description of pathetic. So that is why he's gone away with this. Because Hal just has not shown any authority at any point. Is he looking at this organization going, how can we be better? How can we be more accountable? How can we perform better along the margins? You know, if you have to keep Brian Cashman, you have to be challenging him. You have to challenge him. You have to challenge him for his offseason. Why did you do nothing? Why did you pick up Trent Grisham's qualifying offer? Why did you roll back the same flawed roster that failed to win a division and got ousted by the Blue Jays in short order? How were you so content with that? You know, what was your logic and your mindset behind the Ryan McMahon trade? What was your logic and mindset behind the Josh Donaldson trade? What was your logic and mindset to make IKF a third base to a shortstop? What was your logic there? What is your logic to gaslight the fan base and telling us that Anthony Volpe is one of the best players in the league? Like, I want to ask these questions, and you also equally have to challenge Aaron Boone. Like, Aaron, what are you doing with this team? I know that it's shorthanded, but your leadership style is not coming across. You know, he just doesn't challenge. Issy says here, haven't we already prospect guarded with Volpe? When are we going to learn? Facts. JC Esquire is a beautiful swing. Yeah, Boone said that JC Esquire is a top 5 catcher in baseball. He said that. He said that recently. That was good. Buying yachts and funding more trips to Italy. Well, I'm going to Italy in a week's time. I'm going to see if I can track down Hal. I'll let you guys know if I'm successful. I'm determined to find this guy. All right, we got Triple J in the chat. Keep Aaron Boone out of it. What did he do? He has to play with the players given to him. No, Boone is not to blame. Wow, 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 wow. And compared to Cashman, no, he's not to blame. But I have to call you out here, Triple J. Who allowed Jazz Chisholm to have a lollipop in his freaking mouth and build a sandcastle and allow him to play the next day? Who lied to us and said Caballero is the shortstop, and then the next day made Anthony Volpe the shortstop? Right? And then during another Boone swoon through June, which is happening on an annual basis, okay, happens on an annual basis, the June swoon, the July swoon, Aaron Judge came out and said there's a lack of focus. Whose fault is it that there's a lack of focus? Then Jazz Chisholm, who's been one of the biggest problems on this roster this year, he came out to say that there's also been a lack of focus. Again, whose fault is it that there's a lack of focus in the locker room? Isn't it the manager's job to make sure everybody's focused? So to say that it's not Aaron Boone's fault, I'm sorry, is a huge miscalculation on your part. But I appreciate the comment. But you have to be honest here. He's not helped himself. He's below half 500 in October. That's what we pay our managers for as a Yankee manager. He's below 500 manager in October. He's a below 500 manager in the summer. These are big problems. We should be getting hot in the summer, not getting cold. So yeah, Aaron Boone is culpable. He's allowed the complacency. And to go further than that, the one World Series appearance we had under him, he was directly at fault for most of the losses. He was the one that made that decision to go with Nasty Nestor on Freeman. One of the worst calls in modern Yankee history. One of the worst managerial decisions. He was the guy that showed the video of the 2004 Red Sox as a motivational technique on the Yankees. He was the guy that did that. He has had a lot to do with a lot of the problems. He was the one that told Jazz Chisholm last year, don't worry, you're not going to be playing third base at all next year. I just want you to be our second baseman. And then within 6 weeks, he's playing third base, and he blew out his arm. Hurt his arm doing that. This is Aaron Boone. He is a poor leader. Poor leader, man. But I do appreciate the comment. All right, what else we got here? Due to the uncertainty of the MLB lockout next year, no teams are making a big splash. I would certainly hesitate myself. I agree with you there. Focus falls on Boone and Judge full stop. I agree with you there. Yankees from now on should only be looking at contact hitters and base stealers. I like Luis Ariz. I love Luis Ariz. I would certainly make a deal for him. So I agree with your point there, though, for sure. Fact shade. Boone is below 500 manager in the postseason with some of the most embarrassing, humiliating losses, and they extend him. It's the first time in the history of the Yankees that they have offered multiple extensions to a manager with no World Series rings. It's never happened before in the history of the Yankees. That says it all. That says all about the Three Stooges. And I've still got the Three Stooges here. Brilliant comment. Yes, I do agree there with Issy in everything that he said here. The fact that Judge, Stan, Corey, and Rodon haven't checked Jazz shows that there's not true alphas, they're just pretenders. Exactly. Jazz is more alpha than them because he's pressed the line and they folded. That's a great point. Oh my God. Issy. And in fact, this deserves to stay on the screen for a while. And I want you guys in the chat to really look at this because everything that he says is spot on here. But again, it talks about the lack of leadership from Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner to Aaron Boone, and then into Captain Aaron Judge. How is it that no one is checked Jazz for this behavior? With the lollipops and the yawning and the bitching and the moaning and the clowning around and the big talk, and he's never once been checked, admitting that he didn't know the rules of baseball earlier this season. I think it was Trent Grisham that had to tell him what the rules were. And he just shrugged it all, going, there you go. You know, why was it that nobody in the locker room checked him? This is real. It's a real issue here. And that's why I don't buy Aaron Judge as a captain. Whether it's popular or not, I really genuinely don't care. Because it's the truth. I'm sorry, a real captain has to start holding people accountable, pull people in line. And it goes to what Jorge Posada says, and this is why Jorge Posada is not invited to any Yankee events, because he says you can't be friends with everybody. You can't be friends with everyone. Posada said that. But Judge wants to be friends with everyone. Aaron Boone wants to be friends with everyone. That is a big problem. That's why there's no alphas in this team. Everybody just wants to be buddies. Buddies will get you so far, but there also have to be a lot of toughness. There also has to be a hell of a lot of toughness. So honestly, Jazz is just doing what he's been allowed to get away with. Do you know what? It's kind of like an abusive relationship, right? It's like an abusive partner. It's like if like for instance, you have an abusive girlfriend, right? And she's playing in your face, okay? She's playing in your face, and you just go, okay, no problem. Oh, I'll take you back. No problem, girl. I've missed you. She's playing in your face. She's cheating on you. She's pissing around. She's getting drunk every night. And you keep taking her back going, okay. She's going to keep doing it. Why? Because she's not been checked. It'd be the same if you're a girl and you've got an abusive boyfriend, they're doing the same thing. Right what I'm saying? If you're in an abusive relationship and they're playing in your face and you keep going, okay, no problem, they're going to keep doing it. Why? Because you're acting like a doorstop. And that's... You just want to placate everything, and you can't. You have to stand up. You have to stand up for yourself. And the Yankees aren't standing up for themselves. Jazz is just taking the piss. He's taking the piss all he wants, and no one's going to stop him. So, I mean, I don't want to make it all about like Jazz, because to be honest, we have 99 problems, and Jazz is only part of the problem, but he's certainly a symptom. So is Aaron Boone. He's a symptom of the problem. For me, the main problem is Brian Cashman. Oh, we got Uncle Tats in the chat. All good, doing some work in the basement. And Uncle Tats was at the Yankee Philly game. So if you guys want to hear from Uncle Tats' opinions on his trip to to Philly. Then we'll check it out tomorrow morning. I see an amazing chat. Shout out to the Chronicles family. Salute to you, Uncle T. It's great to see Uncle Tats in the chat. 99 problems. We have one. Cashman. Cashman is the problem. I'm saying it, and I'll keep saying it. Cashman is the problem. Cashman is the center of the cancer, exactly. But yeah, I do echo Uncle Tat's sentiment. This chat has been fantastic because it is past midnight, and y'all are still in the chat. Exactly the same number of people in the chat. You guys are the goats. I can't say it enough. So again, if y'all that are watching on X, if you get an opportunity to hop on over to YouTube, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that sub button. It costs you nothing and allows myself and, of course, Uncle T to give you the best content we possibly can. And we do shows 3 times a week, and not including the Yankified. So we'll give you plenty of content, and we got some merch that's getting ready to be enrolled to those that are members. So again, there's plenty of reasons to sub up to the Pinstripe Chronicles / Yankified. Donald, we have the best fans on YouTube. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing, Kultaz. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you guys because you're always right there with us. Pinstripe Chronicles are the best in the biz, says Issy. Issy, you are a legend. Bless ups to you, my guy. This podcast rocks, says Healing Man's Heart. You rock, and those that are watching, you guys all rock as well. So, you know, we've really, I think we've broken down everything. And I just think that we have to be smart about this. The way I view it is, what, you're going to get a couple of weeks of Aaron Judge at best before the season starts. Before the season ends. You're going to get, at best, a couple of weeks of Aaron Judge. You don't know how fully healthy he will be. You have to be smart about that. Okay, now, you also have to look at the rest of this lineup. As I went through this entire lineup, everybody that's everybody that's taken part, everybody that has had at bats for the Yankees this year, I've listed it for you. 90% of these guys have below 300 on base percentage, far too many strikeouts, and a 700 or below OPS. Far too many. Zero power. It's just too much. Like, there's too many issues to fix, and there's a philosophical issue that needs to be fixed with too many pull hitters, too many strikeouts, not enough batting average. Again, why is Brian Cashman only looking at lefty bats? He's been doing this for years, and now he's surprised. Oh shit, we've got too many lefty bats. Well, bro, you've been the one that's been acquiring them all. I love that. It's like he's got like temporary amnesia. It's like he wakes up from like a drunken stupor. It's like he's been in incarceration for 6 months. He comes out and then he comes out and goes, "Oh shit! Why is my entire lineup left-handed? Why are all my catchers left-handed? Oh shit, bro! You've been doing this. You did this yourself." Donald, you have a doppelganger named Jason Custadio. He has a channel too. Oh, I'll have to ask Uncle Tats to look into this. What's the name of Jason Custadio's channel? Don't tell me it's called Yankified. If there is, there can be some problems. You have a doppelganger name? Do you say? Are you saying that his channel is the same, or he just looks the same? Please clear that up. All right, you guys look alike. All right, okay. As long as the names aren't the same, I got confused there. Donald, this analytics team needs to yes. This analytics team needs fired. Exactly. We also need to switch hitters. It's easier to balance this lineup. Yes, of course. That's facts, bro. It is absolutely facts. I put a lot of this on the analytics. I put a lot of this on Cashman's decision making, which are just terrible. As I say, this is an organizational issue. But again, Cashman just takes no responsibility for anything. It's just like he's been in incarceration for 6 months. He comes out and goes, "Oh my God, half this lineup are left-handed." Well, you've been in charge of this. You're the one that's acquiring them all. You've been here since dinosaurs roamed the earth. You're in charge of every single decision. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's a lack of accountability. There's an organizational issue. There's a philosophical issue. It goes right to the heart of this thing. And so if you really want to fix this and you really want this to be a World Series team, you really want this to be a team that can be remotely as good as the Dodgers, it goes deeper than just personnel. Personnel is one thing, but it goes deeper than that. Because I would bet everything that I own that Dominguez and Spencer Jones and previous prospects would be better elsewhere than they are as Yankees. And why is that? I would bet everything I own that Gleyber Torres would have been better with better leadership. Gary Sanchez would have been better had they not fired Joe Girardi. I'd bet everything I own on that. So as I say, this is an organizational thing, and it's been going on for far too long. So why am I still talking about things that happened years and years and years ago? Because it has reverberations to this year, because nothing has really changed. A lot of our mistakes started in 2018. That's when Cashman was in charge. That's when Cashman took full charge. And that's when his hubris got involved, where he had to be the puppeteer instead of having a really good manager with a really good coaching staff that held players accountable, were very smart, weren't overly obsessed with analytics, certainly used it, but used a lot of their sense and experience and know-how. You go rid of all that. You don't want that. You didn't want any of that. You just wanted Mike Fishman, and you wanted to be the puppeteer because you wanted all the credit. You got a cheap little puppet manager, and you got a bunch of guys that all just want to be buddies with each other. And Cashman's perfectly content with that. That'll only get you so far. And that's why these are the reasons why that we haven't gone anywhere. And then, there's very poor development record. It's terrible. Shocking, actually. These are philosophical issues, and that's why I still have to come back to the question I asked in this podcast. How has Cashman got away with this? He keeps getting away with this. So what I would do is quite simple. Yes, I'm making a trade for Jeffers, for sure. Yes, I'm adding a right-handed outfielder to balance out this lineup, for sure. If there is a decent bullpen arm that we can add that's not going to cost too many prospects, yes, I would do that as well. But I am not making any major trades. I am not trading away Dominguez, and I'm not trading away Spencer Jones. I'm not trading away Lombard. I'm not doing all that because I just don't think that there's a move out there that's going to fix this. Now, if there's a trade for CJ Abrams, okay, I'd maybe consider it. But again, I don't really want Cashman to be making these decisions. I really genuinely believe that he has got to resign at the end of this season once we fail in the playoffs, and we will. We will. I promise you we will fail in the playoffs. Once we fail in the playoffs, he has got to go. He has got to resign. And Aaron Boone along with him. Force Hal Steinbrenner to actually lead and actually look to make some changes. Will he ever get off his yacht? Will he ever get off his yacht to make those moves? I highly doubt it. But that's exactly what needs to happen. The serious trades, trading Dominguez, trading Spencer Jones, promoting Lombard, all that stuff, for me, that needs to be done with a new general manager. The only stuff that I, as Brian Cashman, will do is supplementary moves to improve the roster, to see if they strengthen their case of a wild card, and see if they can, make some inroads in the playoffs. But they're really not going to do anything significant. I don't see an ALCS. Even if they get there, I think they're going to get cooked. But regardless, if they somehow had enough pieces that got them to a World Series, they're going to get blitzed by the Dodgers. Blitzed. And to be honest, they get blitzed by most teams in the National League. So for me, we should be looking at championship. We're not going to get it this year. So we got to make changes. Got it. Absolutely got to. We can't keep just going back to the same thing over and over again. The definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's the definition of an insanity, and we've been doing it every single year since 2018. I don't know how we're still doing this as a podcast, saying exactly the same things now that I said last week, that I said last year, the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. And Brian Cashman sitting there in his ivory tower with his ears and then going, I'm not listening, I'm not listening, I'm not listening. It's not normal. It's not healthy. I agree with you here, Jade. I'd like Hal's sister to run the team. And in fact, I'd love that. Yeah, facts, Jay. Steinbrenner kids don't care about running the organizations. Hal certainly doesn't. I think Hal's sister does. She goes to the games. I never see Hal at games. For me, Hal doesn't care. We've been doing this since 2020. That's absurd. It's been 6 years. 6 freaking years counting. Saying a lot of the same shit because the Yanks take no accountability for anything. You got to change. You got to change. If something's not working, you got to change it. It's a life lesson to y'all. If something isn't working, if a relationship isn't working, if a job isn't working, if your lifestyle isn't working for you, you got to change. You got to make some changes. If you just go, I'll be fine tomorrow, I'm not going to make any changes and I'll be fine tomorrow, then, you're not taking responsibility. And that's what the Yankees are. They don't take any responsibility. They keep blaming everything else. It's a life lesson for you. If you blame everything else and you don't take any responsibility and you don't learn from others, then you're a problem. That's what the Yankees are. Like they're far too open to go, I blame injuries. Oh, just really bad luck with injuries. Oh, the weather. It was the weather's fault. Oh, it was the dimensions of the state. Oh, it was the Blue Jays turf. What was that? That was last year. Aaron Boone's like, that was the turf, the Blue Jays turf. We struggle with the Blue Jays turf. We can't do it. Like, the excuses are absurd. There's always something else. There's always some excuse he got lined up. That's a good saying. You can't fix stupid. Amen. Jeff Bezos bought Liverpool. Could he make an offer to Hal Steinbrenner the year? I mean, yeah. I just don't see the Steinbrenner selling, though, because why would the Steinbrenner sell? The Yankees are apart from Manchester United, they're the most valuable franchise in sport, and the Dallas Cowboys, maybe the Knicks now, they're the most valuable franchise in sports. It's a cash cow for the Steinbrenners. They've got the Yes Network, so they're getting tons of money coming from their own TV network. They've got tourists selling out the stadium, buying Austin Wells burritos, you know, and Aaron Judge 99 burgers, and then they're selling jerseys $300 a pop, and it's a corporate hangout event now, right? When you're bored after work, you just go, I'll go down those luxury seats with my company, and I'll sit there on my iPad. You know, I'm not going to pay any attention to the game because I don't care, but it's something to do in the background while I have a cocktail. That's what the Yankees are right now. Okay, they cater to that, but my point is, there's no real reason for Hal Steinbrenner to sell. They're incredibly profitable, make tons of money, and it allows him to sit in a yacht 6 months a year, sit in Milan all year if he wants to. Sunning it up. He's got a beautiful life. And he gets to play a casual interest as a Yankee. All he has to do as a Yankee owner is come out in October, get one of his social media team to write out a tweet with an AI-generated image of Yankee Stadium saying, "Thank you, fans." That's all he has to do, right? And then the next thing all he has to do is to get the minutes of whatever organizational meetings they have after they get knocked out of the postseason in October. Then that's just the minutes. He doesn't need to be there in person. He can get that on his yacht. Never sits in any of these meetings. Why should he? He doesn't give a shit. Or he just doesn't know. All he has to do is then make another statement going, I think Aaron Boone does a good job. I think Brian Cashman is still a really good GM. That's all he has to say. Bingo bongo. Then he goes back to his yacht. How much work is that? All in all, about 45 minutes. Oh, and then an 11-minute segment for the Michael K. Show. Well, I think I really liked some of the things that we did. I really thought that Aaron Boone did a good job. Not perfect, but, nobody's perfect, and that's fine. Brian Cashman's still a very good GM. Some things worked, some things didn't, but that's fine. Nobody's perfect. I really liked the camaraderie of the team. I was really annoyed by the injuries. Very injured team, but that's just what happens. Can't do anything about injuries. Not our fault. Yeah. So Brian Cashman made a lot of really good trades. That's it. That's all I have to say for 11 minutes. People buy it. I don't know, we'll go again next year. But really happy with this team. I thought we had a good year, had some good moments. Things seem to be better, but that's fine. I'm not like my dad, but it's okay, everybody's different. My dad would maybe make some changes. I don't believe that really needs to be done here. I think a lot of really good people in charge, We still win a lot of games, but we never get to the final line, but I still believe in the people that we have in charge here because they're really good at their jobs. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Thanks, Yankee fans. And I'll see you next year. Oh, yeah. Do I get frustrated? Oh, sure. Sure, I'm throwing my slippers at the TV occasionally. But, the next day, then I come around and think, oh, you know what? Overall, we're doing pretty good. We're in second place. That's fine. We're in the wild card. That's good. Everything's good. We're still a World Series championship caliber team. I still believe that. And we still believe that our manager is in charge and he's doing good things. And we still love our Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge does good things. That's it. That's 11 minutes. So, all in all, an hour's work. Then he can go back in his yacht for 6 months. That's it. That's all he has to do. That is a charmed life. So there's really oh yes, sorry. That's a good point. I still got bondsmen to pay. Don't forget about the bondsman. Now I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but as the owner, I have to be very smart with these things. Got bondsmen to pay, and I've still got the city of New York to pay, and still got taxes to pay. Taxes are expensive. You know that as well as I do. It's not easy. It's not easy being a Yankee owner, and it's even more difficult now that the Mets are there and the Dodgers are there. It's a difficult climate, and I think that the best thing that we could do is to get a salary cap. I think that would be really good because I really believe in prospects, and I really want the rest of the league to catch up to us, even though we've not won anything in 17 years. I still think that it'd be good for parity of baseball that the rest of the league catches up to us. So yes, I think that would be really good. That we get some parity in the league. I think it's good. I vote for that. Doesn't do us any good, but I don't really care about that. There you go. It sounds like Barney Rubble. He does sound like Barney Rubble. Those bondsmen aren't going to pay themselves. But all in all, that's about an hour's work for Hal Steinbrenner over the winter. Doesn't have to do anything else. Now, occasionally, when Brian Cashman does something everlastingly stupid, like get Aaron Judge to test free agency, then or fuck up the Juan Soto negotiations that Hal Steinbrenner has to take over. Yeah, occasionally he has to do that. But by and large, he doesn't have to do anything. He just gets to sit in his yacht and allow Brian Cashman to do all the work. So it goes deeper than I think he's drinking martinis on his yacht. Must be nice. Must be nice. It must be freaking nice. But if there's a major takeaway that I recommend you guys that have stuck with me as I've been ranting for 2 hours, there's one thing I want you guys to think about is the overriding sentiment is, yes, as nice as a couple of moves, supplementary moves, major moves, whatever moves that they make at the trade deadline, it goes deeper than that. As much as CJ Abrams would be an amazing acquisition, I don't expect it to happen because why would the Nationals, who are above 500, trade him? But even if so, the Yankees are still not on CJ Abrams away from winning a championship. They're just not. There's too many things. Their manager is mediocre at best. That's, if I'm being very kind, he's mediocre. I think he's below average. You got a below average manager. You got a below average general manager now. In fact, he's kind of shitty now, right? You got a terrible analytics system. It's kind of poor coaching staff. Our third base coach is a joke. Our offensive philosophy's on fire right now. These are problems, and we can't develop rookies. We can't develop prospects once they reach the majors. These are real issues. And there's a problem in our locker room. As pointed out expertly by one member of our chat earlier, that pointed out that Jazz has been allowed, that Issy points out that Jazz has been allowed just to play in your face, and there's no any leaders. Like, he's been playing in our face, and there's no leaders to check him. And that's a major problem. So they're deeper problems than just a couple of acquisitions. It's a great point by Triple J here, or Quadruple J, or how many J's? I can't see how many J's. Got a lot of J's in there. 9634. Yankee Scout said the Murakami. Exactly. Murakami was a beast. And again, that was another one I was right about. I didn't want the rest of baseball to pass on Murakami. I was like, this guy can hit. Guy's a beast. Triple J, legend. Justin James, Giuliani, you're a legend, bro. And you're spot on. Murakami was a beast. I don't know, but I'm not surprised. The Yankee scouts kind of suck. No, I can't hit fastballs. Yeah, well, he's hitting fastballs pretty good right now. So there are deeper philosophical leadership issues with the Yankees that's far beyond a couple of moves here or there. You can make a couple of supplementary moves to see if they can compete more in the American League. I'm on board with that. But at the expense of most of our farm system, I'm not on board with that. The only major moves I'm making is with a new GM, because I just don't believe that there's enough moves that we can make to make this team a World Series team. Now, as of interest of fairness, our rotation's very good. Very good. Now, Warren sucks, and I think Weather sucks, right? Now, I don't know when Rodon's back, so Rodon will certainly probably step in for maybe Warren. But the first three in the lineup rotation is incredible. Got Fried coming up tomorrow. Excellent. Cam Schlittler is the best of the best. Excellent. Garrett Cole is the GOAT, right? That's excellent. So you don't need to have an amazing lineup. I buy that. I completely get that. But again, I think it goes deeper than that. I think, like, when you've got a leadership issue, you got a poor manager, and you got a poor general manager, and you got poor decision making, you got poor analytics, and you got poor scouts. For me, these are the kind of issues that need to be heavily, heavily looked at in order to make this team a World Series team. Triple J Donald, could we even trade Jazz even if we wanted to? Does he have any trade value left in him? I personally don't believe so. I just don't see it. Like, how many teams are going to be knocking on your door to get Jazz Chisholm? Because the truth is, Jazz Chisholm's having one of the worst defensive seasons of his career, or certainly since he's become a Yankee, he's having one of the worst seasons at second base. Below average defensive runs saved. And then that doesn't even account for his very poor numbers for his standards. I pointed out his numbers are actually pretty shocking. Like 220 batting average, that doesn't really even cover it. 117 strikeouts, that is outrageous. I mean, he had 118 all of 2023. For the Marlins. I mean, he's looking to strike out the same number as he did. I mean, he's going to eclipse 100. He had 148 last year. He's going to eclipse that. He's eclipsing that. Easy. He's eclipsing that easy. He's probably eclipsing that by the end of August. Like, I just don't see why anybody would trade for that. His on-base percentage is below 300. An OPS of 700. That's just, it says 60 points below his career OPS. His on-base percentage is 16 points below his career average. His batting average is 20 points below his career average. It's just, I just don't see why anybody would trade for him. Then, plus the Marlins don't like him. So he's not going back to Miami. They didn't like. They hated him. So plus, like, is anyone going to take him on as a rental? I don't see it. Maybe a team might take a flyer. I just don't see it. How many teams are beating their door down for a player like Jazz? I personally don't see it. I would love it to happen. I would trade him and I would flip him and then I'd go and get our eyes and I'd change it up a little bit. But I don't see it happen. I see that he's going to stick around. We're going to let him walk for free in the winter, which I feel is a waste of resources. Sorry, a waste of an asset. Even though I don't like him, he is an asset. With had we traded him last year, Jazz has little value. We're stuck with him. I agree. I just DFA him. I try and get a trade for him. Having said that, I would have just released him after the lollipop incident, to be honest. I'm never going to forgive him for it, nor should anybody. But, well, I think we've broken down a hell of a lot. Yeah, no, that's it. He's nailed it in one. I think we covered a hell of a lot on the Yankified tonight. Covered a lot. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. I love that the same numbers stuck around since 2 hours before. I forgot how much I could still talk about these Yankees and annoy the shit out of me. Thank you to everybody that's watched on YouTube. Thank you to everybody that's watched on X. Thanks to those that have watched on YouTube. You guys are the goats. I know it's late. It's going to be almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and you guys have stuck with me. So you guys are all awesome. For those that are interested, the Pinstripe Chronicles with Uncle Tats, myself, will be around 10 a.m. Eastern time to 10:15 Eastern time to break down series, my awards, all that stuff. But for this show, if you guys could hit the like button, sub up, share it out to your friends and family and the strangers on the corner. I would really appreciate it. Great show, Donald. Love the Hal Steinbrenner impression. I think I'll bring back the Hal Steinbrenner impression, using more on future shows. Great show. Thank you, Jade. Appreciate it. Issy nailing it again. The Yankees have completely compromised their standard for excellence. Beautifully put. And on that note, thank you to everybody. Have an excellent Monday. Hope there's no Monday doom and gloom. Start of a new week. Thank God for that. Hope for better times ahead. God bless you all. See you on the next stream.